I think for him and you, a good bit of confidence and momentum going into the off season. But you mentioned taking that step. What are maybe one or two things specifically that you've been wanting to see from Cade as he goes into year 2 as a full-time starter?
Well, definitely a lot of confidence coming out of the season for sure. I mean, we won 5 in a row and probably beat, our toughest opponents down the stretch. I mean, and he went head to head against some great quarterbacks and won every matchup. And then that drive at the end, and you saw what we're capable of doing we had Antonio back for that game, who had been out since game 3. Adam Randall has found his confidence again. We had Tyler Brown, coming back. I mean, you just Stellato, last year, people don't even realize he didn't even get cleared to play until Duke week, the game of Tuesday of Duke week. This is the first summer that he's had. It was first spring that he's had, first season that he's had. So, that confidence in that group, I think you saw really grow and emerge down the stretch against some big games. I mean, to beat Notre Dame that punched us in the mouth the year before, to see us dominate that game, to beat a good Georgia Tech, to beat Drake May in North Carolina, to go to South Carolina and win, to win that bowl game was big for us. But how we won it, I think, created a lot of momentum for Cade. Yeah. And you saw a lot of growth in him throughout the season. But the biggest thing for him is, just like I said, he's a first-year starter. And you just want to see a big jump. And so, in particular, where is that? Well, first and foremost, continue his physical development. And he's done that. I mean, when you see him, he looks great. He's just physically maturing as a young player does. We're so quick to just crucify young players if they're not, All-Americans as a first-year starter. And that's just not how, that's a Haley's Comet, type of situation. Most guys, if they have the talent and the ability and the work ethic and the character, football character in particular as well, they're gonna get better because they're gonna do what they need to do. Eric McClain got better every year.
Hey, Coach, it took a while. I'm glad you didn't give up.
He wasn't very good as a first-year starter. He was okay, but he left here as a freaking really good player.
All ACC, baby.
That's right. And he wasn't but this kid, Klubnik, same way. He's wired the right way. Just like EMAC. He's made of the right stuff. He's got that talent. He's got that work ethic. So, physically he's put the work in. Mentally he's put the work in. He's very sharp. I mean, the guy understands, a football junkie. He loves it. But the number one thing is he's got to reduce his negative plays. It's just that simple. I mean, just too many negative plays last year that were on him. And again, a first-year starter. And sometimes I think he tried to do a little too much. And these are things that, you go back and you study and you watch. And certainly as you're going through it, these things. But when you get a chance to get out of a season and slow things down. But, he had too many fumbles.
Yeah.
He actually was pretty accurate with the ball and took care of the ball from a passing game standpoint. He had 4 interceptions. He had some that were not his fault. But there were 4 on him. You go back and you kind of evaluate your disasters every year. Your sacks, turnovers, fumbles, all that stuff, TFLs, and he did it. He just too many fumbles by him, too many tackles for loss where it shouldn't have been a tackle for loss, too many sacks where he's trying to do too much. Pocket presence. Ball should have been gone. You can't hold the ball. You got to make something happen. You got to have a little more pocket presence there. And so again, those are things that you learn as you go through your maturation process, especially at that position. And
right.
So that's the main thing. And then just I think the game as the game slows down, then those areas improve. And then certainly when you are at a place like Clemson, and you have the magnitude of scrutiny that
exactly.
he gets,
exactly.
And then, there's a growing process through that. You're talking about a kid that's coming in here. He's never lost.
Right.
You know, the guy's won 3 state championships. I think the closest game he had was maybe 14 points. And then he comes in and he really gets his first big playing moment, and he's the MVP of the game in the ACC championship game. You know, and so, you know, being able to handle adversity. And I think that he showed a lot of resilience last year. I'm really proud of him, and especially, you know, how he's carried that into this season. So he's really grown as a leader as well. That's a part of that position. So, you know, but I think the number one thing is just the negative plays. If we can just cut that in half, he's going to have some negative plays, especially if you're trying to make some plays. But if he'll do a better job with that, then that'll be a big step for him in his maturity and maturation.